तो अच्छा गांव वालों, आओ आगे का पढ़ाई देखते हैं। डिकम्पोजिशन बाय इलेक्ट्रिसिटी। पिछले वीडियो में, लास्ट वाला वीडियो हमने देखा था डिकम्पोजिशन बाय थर्मल इलेक्ट्रिसिटी, एनर्जी, सॉरी। अभी डिकम्पोजिशन बाय इलेक्ट्रिसिटी सुनो, ध्यान से सुनना।
Nowadays, almost all luxury cars come with airbag system installed in them. And data proves that if a vehicle is involved in frontal crash, then the risk of dying is reduced up to 30% due to the airbags. So how does this system actually work? What makes the airbag inflate instantly during collision? Let us see. First of all, it is very important to understand that the function of airbag is to decrease the momentum of the passenger gradually. So what happens is that in this entire system, there is a nylon fabric in the form of bag. This fabric is attached to an inflator. The inflator contains sodium azide compound. Now the inflator in turn is attached to a sensor. Now when the vehicle is involved in collision, the sensors get activated. Oh, there's going to be a collision, and they send an electric current to the inflator. This electric current breaks the sodium azide inside the inflator into sodium and nitrogen gas. The gas then fills the airbag instantly at very high speeds, thus preventing the passenger from direct collision with the vehicle. And the gas then starts to dissipate from small holes present in the fabric. So the momentum of the passenger is gradually decreased. Now there's very interesting thing to note about this type of reaction or this type of decomposition, that the driving force in such decomposition reaction is the electric current. So we can say that it's a very good example of decomposition by electric current. And now we know that these reactions also help us to save our life.
बहुत हो गया मैडम, मुझे मार दोगे क्या? समझ में नहीं आता। चलो, आपको तो समझ में आ रहा है ना, तो सुनो दूसरा वीडियो।
Photographs. They convey a lot of feelings and hold precious moments. So how was this technique of capturing moments developed? To understand that, let us go back in time to 1830s. The practical process of photography was developed by two persons independently, Louis-Jacques Monde Daguerre in France and William Henry Fox Talbot in England. In Daguerre's method, a silver plate coated with silver iodide was used, while in Talbot's method, a washing paper dipped in salt water and silver nitrate solution was used. This led to deposition of silver chloride in the fibers of the washing paper. The main step of technique developed by these persons was to expose the washing paper or plate to light. And what happened next was simply marvelous, because silver iodide and silver chloride are light-sensitive material. So when light falls on them, they decompose into silver metal and iodine or chlorine gas respectively. Now dark patches were developed on the paper or plate due to deposition of silver. These on further processing gave the classic black and white photographs. So what important thing to observe here is that in photography, decomposition reactions are at work. So this is a brilliant example of decomposition by light.
अच्छा, चलो देखते हैं आगे। अभी बहुत बकवास सुन रहा हूँ मैं कब से इसकी। बोर्ड एग्जाम, नहीं जरूरत चिंता करने की। चलो आगे बढ़ते हैं। डिस्प्लेसमेंट रिएक्शंस, बको जल्दी बको, टाइम नहीं है मेरे पास। जल्दी बक, जल्दी बक, जल्दी। चलो आ गए।
Batteries are a good portable source of electricity. We use them in many devices like cell phones, remote control, or flashlights, etc. So what is happening inside the battery? Now, the basic concept in these type of batteries is that they use chemical reaction to generate electricity. Yes, chemical reactions can generate electricity. So, to understand how chemical reactions are involved in batteries, let us take an example of a very simple battery known as galvanic cell. Now, galvanic cell is basically a zinc and copper cell. So, there is a zinc rod and copper rod dipped in zinc sulfate and copper sulfate solution respectively. But before we go into the detailing of how the battery works, we first need to understand how zinc and copper will react with one another because both of them are metals. So to understand their reactivity towards each other, we will take zinc rod and copper sulfate solution. And if we dip this zinc rod into the copper sulfate solution and leave it for a few minutes, we will notice that the blue color of copper sulfate changed to colorless and there were red deposits on the zinc rod. Now, what does this signify? This implies that there has occurred a reaction between zinc and copper sulfate solution where zinc atoms from the rod broke away and came into the copper sulfate solution, and in this process they displaced copper ions from the solution which were deposited on the zinc rod. So such reactions are called single displacement reactions because one metal displaced another metal from its salt solution. Now these reactions are dependent on reactivity of the metal. So how do we decide the reactivity of these metals? For that we refer to what is known as reactivity series. This is a list of metal in the decreasing order of their reactivity. So the metals at the top are very reactive metals. Metals in the middle of the series are moderately reactive, while the metals at the bottom of the series are least reactive. So in these type of displacement reactions, the general rule to be followed is that a metal lower in the reactivity series will be displaced from its salt solution by a metal higher in the reactivity series. So based on this information, can you find more displacement reactions at work around you?
ये जो रिएक्शन वाला पार्ट है ना बच्चों, ये बहुत दिमाग खाएगी, पता है। वाट लगा देगी। ये नहीं समझ में आएगा ना तो ये वाला पार्ट है ना, आप 10 से 20 बार देखो, लेकिन ये समझ लो, नहीं तो आपके क्लास में तो वाट लगनी गारंटीड है भाई। चलो अब अगला टॉपिक देखते हैं, डबल डिस्प्लेसमेंट। वो था सिंगल डिस्प्लेसमेंट, इसको भी ध्यान से सुनना, ओके।
Relationships are about give and take of feelings. We love our parents and friends and they love us back. A similar exchange occurs in chemistry too. Not of feelings, but of ions between ionic compounds. Confused? Let me tell you how. So for that, let us go and meet two friends, lead nitrate and potassium iodide. So whenever they meet, there occurs an exchange of ions between them. Lead nitrate gives up nitrate ion and takes up iodide ion from potassium iodide, leading to formation of new compounds, potassium nitrate and lead iodide, a wonderful yellow crystalline precipitate. So these reactions are called double displacement reactions. Now these type of reactions have two important features. First, there occurs an exchange of ions between the ionic compounds to form new products, and second is that one of the product can be separated from the reaction mixture in the form of insoluble precipitate or a gas. Now these type of reactions are of three types. First is the precipitation reaction, where one of the product is obtained as an insoluble precipitate, like we saw in the previous example. Second is the neutralization reaction, which we all know occurs between an acid like hydrogen chloride and a base like sodium hydroxide to form a salt, that is sodium chloride and water. And lastly, there are gas forming reactions in which one of the product is either in the gaseous state or it decomposes to evolve a gas. So this was all about the double displacement reactions.
अच्छा ऐसा, चलो कोई बात नहीं, ऐसा सुन लिया। चलो अभी आगे देखते हैं। तो गांव वालों, एक और वीडियो बची है, देख लो, इसके बाद चैप्टर खत्म।
Let us discuss.
नहीं जरूरत इसकी, बोर्ड वाला क्वेश्चन नहीं करने का। चलो बाय बाय, थैंक यू।